The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi guys, thank you so much for coming to 3D Carts and our partner Avalara's Sales Tax Automation webinar, The Path to Compliance for Your E-Commerce Business. And I'm going to hand it over to Cleet Wirtz. He's the Channel Manager at Avalara. Cleet?
Thank you. So welcome. Thanks for attending. What I'd like to do today is just provide you a little bit of an overview. I have maybe 5-6 slides, so I'm not going to dive into a big PowerPoint here, but I want to just kind of frame some of the challenges that e-commerce businesses are dealing with today when it comes to sales tax, and then kind of just briefly give you an overview of some of the solutions and the best practices on how to deal with that. And then what I'd like to do is I'm going to dive right into actually show you a demo of the actual solution. So with 3D Cart and Avalara's partnership, we have the ability to automate and make your life a whole lot easier when it comes to dealing with sales tax and managing that within your business. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, don't hesitate to in the chat function, send an email, and we will get to that at the end of the presentation. I'll try to leave some time at the end. But don't hesitate to send as many questions as you want. We want to make this as informational as possible so you can make better decisions from a business standpoint on how to best make sure you're compliant and dealing with sales tax in an effective manner. So let me just dive into this here real quick. So I want to just go over some of the challenges, as I mentioned, give you some tips, and then talk about just give you a little overview of Avalara, who we are, and then I'll go right into the demo. So one of the things that organizations are dealing with today is just there's a whole lot of taxing jurisdictions that organizations have to deal with. What are the rates? What are the jurisdictions? What are the rules? Do I have to deal with destination-based sales tax? Do I have to calculate sales tax based on origin, tax holidays? I may be selling clothing and apparel or nutritional supplements. Are those fully taxable, or are there varying tax rates? So if you're selling clothing and apparel in New York, there's varying tax rates for clothing and apparel. If it's over $55, it's fully taxable. If it's under $55, it's not. So there's a lot of not only do we have different rates and rules and boundaries across the country, but we also have product taxability requirements. So we, here in the U.S., make it even more complex for businesses to try to determine what the correct sales tax is and how to make sure my business is compliant. And on top of that, states change the rates or the rules or the boundaries throughout the year. So it constantly needs to be updated and monitored to make sure that the appropriate sales tax is being applied. And then, I've had a lot of customers ask me recently in regards to Nexus. And Nexus is essentially is defined as where your organization has a presence. So especially in the e-commerce world, the question is, where do I have to calculate sales tax in? And so that's a challenge for e-commerce businesses and even smaller e-commerce businesses in trying to educate themselves in how to best deal with where I need to calculate sales tax. And then, of course, the legislation. That is a big topic. There's currently 16 states that are currently looking at e-commerce or internet legislation to change how organizations and where they need to calculate sales tax. And so anyway, we'll get into that. So just to touch on that point a little bit more, there's huge pressure that's being put on you the business owners. And with budget shortfalls in the states, in the cities, in the counties, there's increased pressure, enforcement activities that are going on for the states to increase their revenues. They're increasing their auditors. They're looking at other ways to increase revenue. And e-commerce, the internet, is an untapped source for them, and they're looking at the e-commerce side of the business to help shore up their budget shortfalls. Also, a lot of them, as I briefly mentioned about Nexus, are looking to change the definition or broaden the definition of Nexus. So, you know, between 2007 and 2009, sales tax revenue dropped by 30% in many states. So they're looking for ways to increase that in other areas. So, and then, you know, of course, the federal pressure. There's current legislation in regards to the Mainstream Fairness Act to put a federal sales tax for organizations. And in reality, too, the brick-and-mortar companies are looking to put pressure because they're looking at e-commerce as an unfair business, a competitive advantage over them in regards to how they do business, in regards to sales tax and so forth. So there's a lot of pressure for organizations or on the states to look at e-commerce and internet retailers. Now, I wanted to give this to you just to give you a sense of some of the complexity in regards to sales tax. I'm not going to dive too far into this, but this is just to give you a sense as to what e-commerce organizations need to deal with and how accuracy around sales tax is important. So this is just kind of the different colors represent, you know, the different rates. The darker the color, the higher the sales tax rate from an overall perspective. But I want to just focus on, you know, Colorado just as an example. This represents the number of taxing jurisdictions within the state. Now, if you continue to get more granular at the state of Colorado, you can see there really isn't much, I guess, unity or defined lines when it comes to sales tax and the rates and so forth. You can see it's all over the place in regards to what the different rates are, what the different, you know, there are pockets of, you know, rates that are changing throughout the state. So if we get pretty granular here, this is a street level view of Commerce City, Colorado. So as you can see, you know, the taxing rates, the jurisdictions in regards to what the different rates are within the state vary by street. So if you look at here, you look at this, and you know, you joke that this may be, you know, the mayor's friend or relative or something. They carve out, you know, this house on this street, but you can look at the total sales tax for that house is 4.85%. But if you just go down the street, on the opposite side of the street, that percentage is 8.35%. Now, that could be somebody the mayor didn't like, or in regards to that street. So it's very complex, and in regards to calculating sales tax, it's critical that you adopt a solution that allows you to pinpoint those rooftop address of that ship-to location, because that ensures your organization is calculating sales tax correctly. So you can see there's really no rhyme or reason to some of these boundaries in regards to how they determine what the sales tax rates are. So let me just kind of dive into a couple of tips that we've found organizations should be looking at when they're looking for a sales tax solution. And a lot of organizations, I mean, they're pretty comfortable in regards to where they need to calculate sales tax, you know, if they're only located in one state or a few states. But if you do have questions or concerns, there are organizations. Avalara has a consulting organization that helps provide Nexus studies. I know you may have tax consultants or tax lawyers or CPAs that can help you with this. But just to get some guidance as to where your organization should be calculating sales tax. Rooftop accuracy when it comes to collecting sales tax is critical. Just as that last slide demonstrated, the ability to pinpoint that ship-to location in the states where you need to calculate sales tax from a ship-to perspective or destination-based, it's critical. Organizations who are leveraging, a zip code-based system, zip codes were developed really to deliver mail, and zip codes cross city and county boundaries. So leveraging an organization that uses a GIS mapping or geo-mapping technology, which allows you to pinpoint, just increases your accuracy and when it comes to sales tax, and provides you the comfort that, hey, I'm compliant when I'm calculating and remitting my sales tax. And then, of course, making sure that you're on top of all the changes that are happening throughout the year. Product taxability. A lot of organizations don't even know that they have product taxability if they're selling clothing and apparel or nutritional supplements, as I had mentioned previously. So it's important to know what type of products you're selling and how your state or states tax that product. And then I just want to touch base about the outsourced filing. A lot of organizations, if you have somebody sick or somebody leaves that manages that process for you, it's important that you have a repeatable, compliant process for making sure that not only the sales tax is correct, but you're able to file and that process is documented. So if you ever are audited, which as I mentioned, a lot of states are adding additional auditors, that you have all this information in one location and it's manageable and it's documented. And then from an exemption certificate, I have a lot of customers that ask in regards to how do I manage this more effectively versus just having them email it or fax it to me and keeping it in a file folder. So there's solutions that are out there that will help you manage all of your exemption certificates if you're dealing with a lot of exempt customers, allow you to manage that in one location electronically and put the onus on the actual customer to fill out and send in the exemption certificate, and you can manage that from one location. So let me just give you a little bit of background about Avalara, and then I'll go right into the demo. What I want to do is just, we've been around since 2004. We are the fastest growing and largest SaaS sales tax company in North America. And I think I've been with Avalara a little over a year now, about 15 months. And I think that the reason for that is there's a number of reasons. One is the integrations we have with great platforms like 3D Cart. They provide a great platform for organizations to start their e-commerce businesses, and the ease at which we can integrate and help you get up and running to manage your sales tax is critical. And then some of the things that we talked about in regards to delivering accurate sales tax calculations and automating the process and being able to deal with it from one simple location is critical. We provide professional services around nexus studies, registration services, organizations who have concerns or they need some help within an audit. They're being audited and they need help. So we provide a full range of solutions. When you think about Avalara, it's really a complete platform to manage all of your sales tax needs. And just I wanted to throw in the SST. We're a certified provider of the Streamlined Sales Tax Initiative. Organizations who have multi-state filing requirements. Avalara has been chosen as one of the few organizations to participate in this program, which allows us to file your sales tax for free in the SST states. And the nice thing about that is that it streamlines the filing process within the 24 states, 26 states that participate in that program. So it's a great program for organizations that qualify, and Avalara, as being a part of that, we're audited every other year. So we have to adhere to certain standards and processes to be a part of that program. And then when we file for you, they have to take our return as correct. So it's another level of compliance that you can feel confident that, hey, what we say in regards to what your return is correct, and the states have to take it as correct. And then the other pieces is just to show you that we are growing fast and in regards to the growth in regards to sales tax. So I just want to share this slide with you real quickly. in regards to the type of services that we can provide, from all the way from calculation to exemption certificates to automating your returns for an organization. So it's important that your needs are going to vary depending on the type of business you're in, the number of states, and so forth. But it's important that you understand that there's a number of solutions out there to help you manage and run your business effectively. So let me get into, and I'm going to show you right now a demo of the actual solution. I'll leave this up for a second here. If you want to take my name and number or email, and if you have any questions afterwards too, you can always email me. But here, let me just switch this over. So what you should see here is your dashboard. So when you sign up with 3D Cart and you download the module that 3D Cart provides, you plug in our service, and this is your dashboard. This is what you're going to look at on how to manage your sales tax. You will get your own unique secure HTTPS connection. You can have multiple users access the system. You can have admin edit rights or read-only rights, depending on how much you trust them, I guess. So anyway, so this is where, if you look here, the services notice section, this is where we're going to update you on any changes we are making to the service. So if, for example, there's a rate or a rule or boundary change, a new compliance law in your state or a state, we're going to put updates here just to kind of let you know what's going on within the service, how we're updating the service to make sure that we're meeting your state's requirements. Right here, account alerts. This is where we're going to provide you alerts for, let's say, expiring exemption certificates, like you said, nexus changes you've made. Let's say you hired somebody in another state, or a distributor or a drop shipper or something, and you need to now collect in that state. You added a state, so we're just going to give you alerts here as to what changes you've made to the service. And then here, actually, this is one of the requests that we had from a lot of customers of ours, is we have a pricing structure that varies or meets organizations where they are initially, from either whether they're a startup or it's a mature company. And there's certain transaction amounts or buckets that we provide based on your size and where you're at. And this gives you a glimpse as to how many transactions that you're processing through your 3D Cart platform. So it really gives you a nice glimpse of where you're at. So, how many transactions, well, what are my total sales, what are my taxable sales, and so forth. So it really gives you a graphic view of where your business is. And then here, you can always, we provide training twice a week. You can get training information, documentation. You can submit a case. If you have a question or having an issue, you can submit a case here, or you can actually just pick up the phone and call somebody, which I prefer to do. So anyway, there's a lot of information here, even from a knowledge-based documentation and so forth that are provided here. So everything that I'm going to show you to, Avalara maintains, supports, and develops. So the good news is there's one neck to choke, and it's our neck. So when you call in, we're going to manage it, we're going to host it, and we're going to be able to get the right people to help support you. So what I want to do is just kind of give you a little glimpse from an organizational standpoint. You have the ability to set up, your organization. If you have multiple entities, let's say subsidiaries, you can set them up here with multiple websites and all manage everything from one dashboard. So, for example, if it's just your company, you want to set up your company, it's pretty straightforward. All you're going to need to do is put your company information in, put your address, contact information, and then really it just comes down to what states do I need to collect sales tax in. And what you're going to do is you're going to come in here. As you can see, we support a number of countries. As of today, we fully support the U.S. and Canada from a sales tax and filing perspective. but I'm assuming most customers are just going to be in the United States. So you're going to come in here, you're going to click Edit, and then you're going to click on the specific states that you need to collect sales tax in, and then you're going to click Save. So we've reduced this process to a point-and-click function. So it's really easy. If you're just in Florida, then you're just going to click Florida and click Save, and now we're collecting sales tax. We're recording that information within your AvaTax account, and we're automating that filing for you in the state of Florida. So we've really tried to manage this from an ease of use perspective to just allow you to point and click and then manage this. Now, we understand that some customers have product taxability. What was that? Stay on this page. Okay, hang on there. Yes. There we go. We understand that organizations also have product taxability requirements. So in our service, we allow you, let's say you're selling apparel. I had mentioned apparel, a Converse jersey. You're able to map that to our system tax code. So within your state, we're going to be able to automate and ensure that the correct product tax is applied based on what that product is, where it is purchased. So if there's a special tax rate on apparel or Converse jersey, that our system will automatically know whether to apply or not apply that sales tax based on the product and where it's purchased. From a tax rule perspective, you may have a specific tax rule that is required based on your business. And what you can do here is you can apply whatever custom rule to the SKU or item level that you need to, and you can apply it to various regions or countries if necessary. So it gives organizations the flexibility to add any rules that are custom to their business and that will override the system. So let me just give you an example. Let me just jump to give you a sample tax calculation. One of the other things that we do is we provide as part of our solution is we provide address validation. So I'm going to give you just an example of an address here in Colorado. And the first thing that we're going to do when a customer comes in to your website and punches in their address and products that they want, we're going to validate the address against the USPS certified database. So from an e-commerce perspective, it's going to eliminate any misshipments you have because we're going to be validating this information, the address. So I don't know the zip code to this address. So when they come in, the first thing that happens is it validates the address. So I just put 1111. It auto-corrected to the 9-digit zip code for that address. So it standardizes and validates it. So now let's say that they're purchasing $1,000 worth of product. So based on this ship-to location, the total tax for this e-commerce customer is $47.50. Now within your AvaTax account, what we're going to do is we're going to record and give you the line item detail as to what sales tax made up that $47.50. So you're going to see here there's a state rate, a county, and there's 2 special jurisdiction taxes that apply to that specific street level address that we punched in. So you're going to have this granularity from a sales tax perspective within your AvaTax account. So if a customer comes and says, hey, wait a minute, $47.50 seems awfully high, you can go into your AvaTax account, plug in this address, or you can actually go to your transactions tab and look at specific transactions. So you can pull up a date range here. You look at this. I put up this sample date range. I mean, now that's a pretty big date range. But you can pull up date ranges for committed sales and go into specific invoices and look at what was purchased. So here there's one item, right? Massachusetts state tax of 6.25. So you can get very granular in regards to the information and visibility you have to your business and from a sales tax perspective. And then let me just show you real quick here in regards to tax returns. Depending on how many states that you need to calculate and remit your sales tax, we're going to give you a snapshot of what your total sales are within the state. So let's say you have to collect sales tax in California or Colorado. What this is going to do, it's going to show you, actually let me show you Colorado because it gives you a couple different jurisdictions here. What it does is it's going to show you your total sales for the month, your taxable sales, and then what your liability is. And then you're going to see right here, this is what you owe to the state. Now, if everything looks correct, whether you file monthly or quarterly, you're going to come in here. If this looks correct, you're going to come here, click Approved, and you're done. What Avalara does after that is we fill out the appropriate forms. We do an ACA debit for the amount that you approved. We pay your liability, ensure that it's done on time, and document it. So it's a repeatable, compliant process for your organization to ensure that it's done correctly, it's done on time, and it's done the right way. So however many states you have will show up in this dashboard. If it's just one state, then you'll just have one state that will show up here with your total sales and what your liability is. If you have multiple states, then multiple states will show here. And then from a reporting perspective too, what we do is you can think of our reports as templates, best practices templates that we set up to allow you to give you additional visibility to your business. So you can pull this data in the format that you need it. You can pull as many reports as you want a month. I have a number of customers that ask me, you know, how many reports can I pull a month? You can pull as many as your heart desires from a report perspective. So what you're going to be able to do here is, let's say you want to know, hey, I want a little bit of visibility on what I owe to the state. You know, what does my tax summary look like for the state? So you can pull up reports, as I said. Here you can pick a specific state, say Florida, the current month. You can pull that in HTML, Excel, PDF, and then generate that report. So we have a number of reports here, as you can see, that you could pull and customize based on your requirements. And there's a liability worksheets that you can pull for specific states, so you can actually break down to see what specific, how much you owe to specific counties within a state. Because I know, like California, you have to break it out in a certain way. So there's a number of ways you can get to this data with the reports that we offer. And that's pretty much it. I kind of went over this quickly. I just wanted to give you a sense as to what the dashboard looks like, how you would manage this within your organization. As I mentioned, you have one dashboard that will be able to manage this whole process for you. It's a repeatable process, it's compliant, and you can ensure that it's done correctly. So I don't know, at this point I want to leave a little bit of time in regards to questions.
Yeah, there was a couple really good questions. One of which was, we sell products in all 50 states and have 2 warehouses, one in California, one in Pennsylvania. If we sell our products online, do we have to pay tax on sales to consumers in either of those states? Or in other states, my fault.
Okay, so there's a couple questions, and that goes back to our nexus question. So if you have what was it, a warehouse, a distributor?
A warehouse in California and in Pennsylvania. If they sell their products online, do we have to pay tax on sales to consumers in other states?
So if I understand the question correctly, Pennsylvania and California, you're collecting sales tax. Do I have to collect it anywhere else? And that really goes back to that nexus question, in that where does your company have a presence? If you don't have a presence outside of those 2 states, then no. If you sell a product in Texas, for example, online, e-commerce, you don't need to charge sales tax for that customer. You only need to charge sales tax as of today. Now, there's legislation looking to change that, but as of today, you need to calculate sales tax in the state or states you have a presence. Now, the other piece of that question is what constitutes a presence? And warehouses, drop shippers, distributors, depending on the state, does constitute a presence within that state, so then you would need to calculate and collect sales tax in that state. Some states it doesn't, so it's kind of a moving target in regards to whether it does or doesn't. And we can have that conversation to kind of help you understand that process a little bit better on whether you do or don't. Some companies, if they have a question, it's a little gray area, they do it, they collect sales tax because they just want to make sure they err on the side of caution. And quite frankly, some don't. So it really just kind of depends on what the relationship is with that distributor or wholesaler and what you want to do.
I think that answers our next question. And then someone asked if you could comment on drop shipping and where Nexus comes in. I think you just spoke.
Yeah, this is a great. I get this question a lot, and I don't like answering it, but it depends. I don't like the answer. I don't like saying it, but it really does depend on the state and the drop shipper and so forth, and the relationship with the drop shipper. Obviously, the state wants to make sure they're getting the sales tax. So the drop shipper handling it, are you handling that? Who's remitting it, and so forth. So it really depends on the state. Because sometimes some states will say, yeah, if you have a drop shipper in that state, you have a presence, so you need to collect sales tax. Mm-hmm. Some don't. Unfortunately, it's not a straightforward answer.
Is it okay if maybe the people with more specific questions, if they email you at the end of the webinar?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Answer me. Yeah. If you have another question, send a question. I'll be able to get it. If I don't know it, then I'll track it down with someone who's a lot smarter than me to get it for you.
Great. And this is a question I don't think you've touched on. How does it deal with RMA partial return?
So, yes. So, especially like from a returns perspective, if you have a return, you can drill down into the transactions and actually do a partial return. You can do that within 3D Cart, or you can actually go into your Avatax account under the transactions tab, look at and do an actual partial return. So if let's say they bought 3 products, they return one of them, you can do a credit memo for that one item, so it line items that out. Now, there's some cases that, let's say we file a return for you, and then all of a sudden somebody returns it after we've already filed your liability. What you can do is you'll credit back that, you'll do a credit memo, and then we'll make that adjustment on the next filing. So if you pay too much, then we'll adjust that for the next filing. So then you're whole. So either we'll credit it back to you, or we'll just credit the amount to the next filing.
Okay. And did you mention the costs of your product?
I didn't. So it's really going to do our pricing structure. It's similar to a cell phone plan. It's one of the best ways I've found to explain it. But it's based on our contracts are 12-month contracts, and it's based on the total number of transactions over that 12 months. So and then we have buckets of transactions that you can choose from. So it's customized to your size of business and where you're at. So I work with a lot of startups that say, hey, I don't really know. And we have very small transaction plans, and we work with customers that have, hey, I've been in business for 10, 15 years. We're processing 20, 30 transactions, 20,000 transactions a year. And so we have various buckets that will align with the size of your business and where you're at within your business. So we can have that discussion in regards to where you're at, how many transactions you anticipate a year, and then we have buckets of transactions that correlate with where your business is. And let's say if you're growing, let's say you're doing, hey, I'm doing 5,000 now, but I anticipate to do 10,000. then you can actually upgrade to the transaction bucket. So you're growing, we're processing more transactions for you, the buckets grow. So it's a win-win. There's no penalty to upgrade. You're growing, we're growing, and we're managing automating your sales tax. And then obviously from a filing perspective, the filing from a pricing perspective, we just manage that by the number of returns that we process for you. So if you're in one state and you file quarterly, then it's a per return cost. It'd be 4 returns a year. If you file annually, then it'd be 1 return. So, and we can talk about that in regards to if you have questions, email me and we can have a discussion in regards to where you anticipate the transactions being over the year, and then I can give you some buckets of transactions that correlate with where you anticipate being, and see if that makes sense for you.
Great.
I will say one thing: the number of states don't matter to us. So you can have 1 state and do 100,000 transactions. You can do 5 states and do 3,000. So the states really don't matter. The states, it's important from the state perspective that you just click on the ones that you know that you need to calculate sales tax in.
Great. How about, so this person's asking about tax submittal. Do you guys, does Avalara submit the return, or is it done at the company level?
Do we submit? So what we do is we are going to fill out, pay, and actually submit your sales tax return to the state or states that you require. So we're actually going to file that on your behalf. Now the other nice thing about that is let's say you're in Florida or New York or California, we're submitting your returns and they send you a notice. They say, hey, we have a question about this return. The beautiful thing is we're your outsourced sales tax agent. So you're going to let us know that the state of New York or California Florida has a question, and we're going to answer that question on your behalf. So you truly are leveraging a service that is managing this process from A to Z. So if you have a question, you don't have to mess with it because we file it for you, so we're going to answer the questions for you.
Great.
Did I answer that? Is that what they asked?
Yes. At least that's how I interpreted. And
if not, let me know.
Okay. How quick to set up in 3D Cart once? I guess how quick is the integration with 3D Cart?
Sure. So the typical process is when you sign up for the service, what I do is I submit that into our system, and then I assign a go-live coordinator to you. So I think one of the beautiful things about Avalara is you don't just sign up and we say, hey, thanks for signing up. Here's a bunch of stuff to look at. Good luck. I actually assign a go-live coordinator to you. And what they'll do is they'll send you out an email and say, hey, welcome to Avalara. I want to set up a conference call. It's a quick half-an-hour conference call. What they'll do is they'll provide you, they'll set up your AvaTax account. They will provide you the access codes to plug into 3D Cart. So you're going to plug the information into 3D Cart. It's very straightforward. And then from there, you're connected. And then it's just a matter of setting up the account. And you're going to punch in, from an organizational standpoint, if you look on your screen again, you're just going to go into the organization tab. Hang on here. Let's see. Oops. I talk too much. What you're going to do is you're going to go into your organization tab, and you're going to click, you're going to establish your company name, and then you're just going to put in this information. And then you go to Nexus and click on the states that you need. And then what they'll do, they'll work with you also and show you how to, what your filing schedule is for the state, whether that's monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually, and then you're off and running. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Typically, the setup is, I say 2 to 4 days. I just say 4 days to give myself a little padding, but typically it's, within a day or two that you're up and running. It really just depends on, if you've got, a few hours to commit to this, to just getting it set up. So it's a very short process. We can have you up within a day if you needed to. After that initial conference call, you could be up within a day.
Some of these questions are really specific and should be handled, via email. are any of the tax rates based on where the purchaser is located, or is it only based on where the seller and drop shippers are located?
Great question. So yes, some states are origin-based. And off the top of my head, I want to say there's most states are destination-based. So I will say most states are wherever the customer is purchasing the product, that's where you're calculating the sales tax. There are some states that have origin shipping rules. So I think there's maybe seven states. California is kind of they go to a whole new level. It's a dual sourcing state, so they actually charge sales tax on origin and destination. So the state and county and city taxes are origin based, and the taxing jurisdiction, the JST's taxes are destination based. So they've actually increased the complexity a little bit in regards to sales tax. But most are destination based. There's about 7, 8 that are origin based.
Okay. Okay. Does Avalara support international orders and customs?
Customs, we do not. So as of today, we can handle VAT out. So if you're going to a European country and you're selling a product from the U.S. to a VAT country, we can support that. If you're going, I've had a couple questions recently in regards to customs charges. Do we handle that for like going to Canada? We do not support that today. But we do support Canadian sales tax, so PST, GST, JST, and HST, which is the combination, I believe. So we do support Canada, but we just don't support the customs taxes.
Someone just asked what JST tax was.
JST, geez, that is the Canadian term for, what is it, JST? I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. Canada makes it a little bit simpler in that they really have 3 taxes, JST, PST, JST, and HST. I don't know. I actually don't know what those stand for. It's one of the many acronyms we deal with in our lives that I have no idea what it means. It's jurisdictional. Yeah, I don't know.
Gotcha. I think we've answered most of the general questions. I think the others are pretty specific to that particular business. So maybe you can follow up with them after the webinar?
Absolutely. So I just put my contact information up here again. If any of you do have questions, don't hesitate to give me a call or drop me an email. I can answer any questions you have there. So hopefully you found this very informative in regards to some of the complexities you're dealing with, but also how we can help you manage this. With the 3D Cart and Avalara relationship, we can really make your life a whole lot easier when it comes to sales tax. And in reality, you can focus on what's the most important piece of it, and that's your business. I really don't know anybody who really likes to deal with sales tax, so we are going to take care of that part for you.
Fantastic. Awesome. And just so you know, Clete, you can also jump in on the chat and questions as well if you wanted to answer some of them in here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming. I hope you all walk away from the webinar more informed, and absolutely contact Clete with all your questions. And Avalara, 3D Cart believes in them 100%, and we hope that you guys check them out and work together for future successful endeavors. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.